All right, and good evening to you as we come back to you with the Central Florida Blitz here, heading into week number 7, right here on FloridaHSFootball.com. Good evening, Joshua Wilson here with you, and yes, we have made it through Hurricane Helene, and some games were postponed until tonight. Some were postponed. Some games got off Friday. Some were postponed to tonight, so we'll kind of go through that here coming up here in a few minutes here. But we got some headlines. We got some things that are interesting in the Central Florida Blitz in terms of the Blitz lines that are coming up here. We'll have the double set of Blitz lines there. No interview tonight here. No interview for our 2 shows tonight here. We'll go through some of the headlines and do our pick 6 and all that for this week here for week number 7. And we got tonight, if you're expecting the Gulf Coast Blitz tonight, that's actually been moved to 7:30 tomorrow night. We're putting the South Florida Blitz tonight because a majority of South Florida did get to play here between Friday and Saturday here. There's some games that are being made up tonight, but in terms of the number of teams across the South, the regions here, Central Florida, South Florida tonight. We'll do Gulf Coast and North Florida tomorrow night. We'll really focus heavily on North Florida, what has happened here, because a lot has changed across that stretch here. But Central Florida looking pretty doggone good in terms of being able to get the action in here over the past over Friday and Saturday. And of course, there are some games tonight here as well. In the Central Florida region. I'm looking at a couple. There's actually a few going on right now. I know Crescent City, Father Lopez is in action right now. Umatilla, Interlochen, Westport, Ocoee, Ed White at Mandarin. That was a 6:30 kick. So we've got some games, and we got some games tomorrow night in the region, and that includes Winter Park at Edgewater. Lake Nona at Dr. Phillips, that's a makeup from week 1. West Orange at Evans, that's another makeup from week 1. And of course, Cypress Creek, Orlando at Lake Buena Vista tomorrow night as well. So, yeah, we've got some games going on right now as we're doing the show, but majority of the games for week number 6 did get played across Central Florida. Of course, dealing with Hurricane Helene. Friday, we've got power back. Internet was spotty. That's why you didn't see it as active as on Friday night as we would have liked to have been, but we are back here. We're going to recap the week 6 headlines, and with that said, it is time for the Blitz lines right here as we roll into, how about Spruce Creek walloping the land? I mean, this one, when I read the headline and I read the story, I did not see a 48-13 thumping coming by Spruce Creek. And according to Chris Boyle, the Daytona Beach News Journal, how about this? Andy Price called the game. Head coach Andy Price called the game from the box instead of the sideline because they were down a spotter. And as the report says, there was a lot of loud banging on the windows when it came to Andy Price. I mean, he literally called one of the best games and a signature win for head coach Andy Price at Spruce Creek. And Chris Boyle noted in his story that Andy Price had not called a game from the box since being the head coach over at Warner Christian in South Daytona, which, by the way, Warner Christian had a great success of a 11-man program, but Warner Christian football nowhere to be found these days. So that tells you Andy Price made Warner Christian football what it was, and then of course now he's making Spruce Creek on the map here, and a big win over one of the longtime legendary coaches in the state, Rick Darlington, here in district play to open up district play in the 7A District 2. So a lot going on there, and we got a big shout out that we're going to do here in a couple minutes as we get kind of wrap up here as we go through the first part of the Blitz lines here. And as we're going to do this, I'm going to actually do this right after I do this headline because it's a very appropriate I do it in this, and that is we're going to talk about University bouncing back against Flagler Palm Coast. And here you go. Flagler Palm Coast, 4-0 coming into this game, and the University coming off that week 5 loss to Oak Alley, and they handed the Bulldogs their first loss of the season, a 34-19 victory. And Malachi Waters, 12 of 24 passing, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, while Anthony May had a huge night on the ground, 224 yards on 26 carries and 3 touchdowns. You can't buy any better than that there for University there. And we definitely like that with the University Titans coming back and bouncing back there and getting a big win to start off district play. And with that said, we're going to do a couple of things here. We're going to do a couple of things regarding Hurricane Helene, and this is one of the big ones here that I'm gonna talk about in each show, because Taylor County High School. By the way, the Bulldogs there at Taylor County, they're 5-0 right now. Did not get to play this past Friday night. Obviously, Hurricane Helene hit Keaton Beach, which is actually there in Taylor County Thursday night, late Thursday night. That's where it made landfall at. And the entire county was given a full evacuation order. And a lot of people left. I know some people stayed behind. The thing is that the devastation there in Taylor County is definitely really, really huge. And it's been 3 hurricanes in 13 months along the eastern shores of the Big Bend in Florida. And Taylor County, they are in need of of a lot of help right now. They're in the need of a lot of different things. And some of the things here I can tell you right now they're going to need is water, Gatorade, snacks, chips, crackers, fruit snacks, gummies. I mean, they are in need of a lot of stuff for these guys to get some sense of any kind of normalcy back in Perry. I mean, Perry, the entire Taylor County has just been 13 months, 3 hurricanes, and Helene being the worst of the 3 so far to date. And I can tell you this right now, big shout out to head coach Justin Roberts at Orange City University, who, by the way, has already placed an order on Amazon and is sending supplies are being sent on the way to Taylor County. And I can give you all the information here real quick. Okay, to send supplies to Taylor County High School, send it in care of Eli Biddy. That's Biddy DFO. He's the director of football operations. The address is 900 Johnson Stripling. That's STRIPLING Road, Perry, Florida 32347. You can send Amazon order, you go through the Postal Service, UPS. They will get those packages to Taylor County as quickly as possible because they are in need of supplies like no tomorrow over in Taylor County right now. And by the way, here's another thing that with Taylor County that I should address here with what Coach Biddy gave us. Coach Biddy said they've also had one player. This is what's even sadder here right this second. One player lost his home. His parents, his family lost their home, and they're working on gathering clothes and school supplies for him. And he also has 2 siblings. So this athlete is definitely it's a situation that you can't even begin. It's heartbreaking to hear this. And kudos to head coach Justin Roberts over at Orange City University, already sending some help to the Taylor County Bulldogs. And there's Coach Biddy saying, appreciate it. Thank you, Coach. Thank you for sharing with us what y'all need so we can get that out there to everybody, because it's very important to make sure we share what's going on. This is it's really hard to think that, we have gone through 3 this North Florida, the Big Bend region has gone through 3 hurricanes in 13 months. And I don't even want to talk about the next forecast. Hopefully they're totally wrong, because it's definitely heartbreaking for me here to read this out to y'all, but it's information. We need to share this with everybody, and all our watchers, all of our viewers. We definitely appreciate you being able to hear this and be able to talk about this, but and get the information out there about Taylor County. If there's any other schools that we find out they're in need, there's potential chance Madison County, Suwannee. If we find out any information on these guys, we'll put that out. I'm going to do that. Let me get to some of the comments here, because I'm glad the comments are popping up here. Guys, there are games here that are actually going on right now. And Mark Cannon, good evening to you. Winter Haven and Haines City. He's listening to Blitz. Life is good, and I'm glad life is good for you. And appreciate you tuning in, even when you're at a game. And Nolly, good evening to you here. And Yeah, and we would like to be able to get thing. And of course, Mark Cannon tells us Haines City is up 8-0 in the second quarter. Okay, so what I'm going to do here right this second, and I'm gonna take this right now. I'm going to go actually on the Twitter account here. I'm going to pull this from head coach from coach Eli Biddy. He's the director of football operations for the Taylor County Bulldogs. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up real quick here. That way, I can paste that for y'all, so y'all can go ahead and start getting a roll on that. But here we go. I'm going to copy and paste that. Y'all going to see that pop up in the chats, comments, wherever you're watching out, YouTube or Facebook mostly. So, and this is how to donate. Yep, I'm going to put this in there as how to donate to football program. So that way y'all can see this and y'all can reach out to head coach. I mean, not head coach, to Coach Biddy and head coach Jesse Braswell. I know that he's got this team rolling, and I know that we don't know when they're going to be able to return to the field. I haven't even asked what the field conditions are exactly like there, how the school handled what things look like necessarily. I've seen some pictures, but I haven't looked at everything. I have not personally looked at everything because it's been a lot to just even digest what has gone on in pieces. So, but I'm going to go ahead and send this, and here's the stuff that they need right here. I'm going to put that in the chat box right now for y'all, and let's see if that comes through to y'all as well. Let's see. I'm not sure if it's going to come through properly. Let me see if I can't switch it over here to. Let me just go ahead and let me see if I can't get that to go correctly. That way, do the address correctly and just do it that way. See if it'll go through on YouTube more properly. All right. I think y'all should see that now in the chat box here for the address and for the stuff that they are needing here at Taylor County High School, especially with the football team. So if y'all need that address again, that's the address again. I can read it out again. It's 900 Johnson Stripling, Stripling Road, and that's in Perry. 32347, and make that in care of Eli Biddy, DFO, Director of Football Operations there for the Bulldogs of Taylor County. So, all right, we're going to roll along here with our rest of our headlines in the first part of the Blitz lines, and then we're going to come back to the second part of the Blitz lines, and we're going to roll along here. And as we go talk about Lake Mary and Seminole, District 7A3, and both of those teams just basically pounded their district foes in Hagerty and Lake Brantley. Lake Mary stormed Hagerty 52-3, while Seminole thrashed Lake Brantley 61-8. And according to the Orlando Sentinel, Noah Grimes went 13 of 19 passing for 246 yards and 5 touchdowns, while Michael Clayton for Seminole threw 120 yards, 9 of 19 completions and 4 touchdowns, while rushing for 1 more touchdown. So, yes, what a way to start district play, both for Lake Mary and Seminole. And those two teams are going to battle out for that district championship in District 7A3 here over the next couple of weeks. And once they meet those two teams, that's going to be definitely a game that will land on our pick 6 pick'ems coming up later on this season. All right. As we roll along here in terms of what we've got here for the show here, we've got Malin. How about this? Hey. Malin, finally, the goose egg on the winning column is gone. They have 1 win. Now, how about another? Yes. Malin picked up their first win of the season with a 43-0 lashing of Matanzas on Friday night. And, hey, the Buccaneers scored more points in this one game than they did in the previous 4 games. And that's the most points they've actually scored since week 1 when they lost to Orange City University. So, give it up to the Malin Buccaneers. They're not out of it yet. 1 of 2 district games down for the Malin Buccaneers. We knew this going in, that Malin, all they had to do was win 2 games in the district and be in the playoffs. Most likely be an 8 seed. And if that's the case, what it looks like up here, what could happen here, Malin will likely be that 8 seed sitting there in Class 5A Region 1 coming up here in November. So keep that in mind there. But another team that deserves a round of applause, and we haven't really talked much about them, but this is a team that has flown under the radar for a while. 0-10 last year, but Winter Springs 1 game away from being at the least a 500 season for the year, and they are 4-1. The Winter Springs Bears, hey, how about that? And I'll give them a round of applause right there. So there's that, and we'll go from there. But Winter Springs definitely looking like they're seeing some improvement. But they had a 21-15 victory over Horizon this past week, and again, 0-10 last year in 2023. So Winter Springs definitely making some moves. And how about this one as we come up before our first water break here? West Orange. I talked about this last week. That West Orange, when our two shows that we did get on Monday, I said I was concerned that Apopka, with the loss they took to Edgewater, 35-0 in the previous week, that this was a game that they were going to lose here. And West Orange put all the brakes on Apopka from taking that 7A District 5 title, and 25-7. That is the victory for the West Orange Warriors. And you really got to kind of give it up to what Gino Thompson's doing there. West Orange definitely looking really, really good. 25-0. 25-0. 25-7 is the score. 5-0 is the record right now. And actually, West Orange will take on Evans tomorrow night, and where they can potentially pick up win number 6. But hey, good job, West Orange. Still one among the undefeated teams in Central Florida right now, and in our Central Florida Blitz show zone. So that is huge for them. All right. Well, it is that time for our water break. I need some water. How about y'all go get some water real quick, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes right here on the Central Florida Blitz on FortHSFootball.com.
1, 2, 3.
All right, welcome back here to the Central Florida Blitz. Good evening to y'all again. Josh Wilson here at FortHSFootball.com, and I don't know why I did that. hit the wrong button there. There we go. All right, now back on the screen here. I don't know why I clicked that, but I've got it off of there. So hey, sometimes technology. It's a live show. Anyways, again, here with the Central Florida Blitz, and we have another round of Blitz Lines as we do the second part of the Blitz Lines here. And how about Bishop Moore? Oh, man. Yeah, getting walloped there by St. Thomas Aquinas here. And the Hornets walloped by the visiting Raiders 50-15. And the loss gives them that's their first loss of the season. But Bishop Moore certainly not out of any contention for their district. I mean, they're already 1-0 in their district in District 3A, Class 3A, District 5. And that's a 5-team district, so they do have 4 more district games left. So Bishop Moore certainly not even know anywhere near out of the playoff picture. But same Thomas Aquinas, that's a huge opponent to go up against. And the Raiders are rolling the Hornets. Hey, a game for it to learn on. And so the Hornets are definitely going to learn, a little bit from that game and take that and apply it going to the rest of the regular season. And by the way, if you're not following us on social media, that is at Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, YouTube. That is at Florida HS Football. And on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. You can definitely get the notifications when we go live or when we post any new content. Hey, but the biggest thing, subscribe on YouTube. That I recommend. Subscribe on YouTube. And on X/Twitter, that is at FLAHS Football. And there's the QR code there to download the FloridaHSFootball.com app. And we're going to roll along here with our next set of headlines here. And that is Edgewater and Winter Park thumping their opponents. And both teams had district games last week, and Edgewater thumping Lyman. And while Winter Park did the same thing to Freedom. And both teams pitching big wins right there, and that puts both of those teams in the driver's seat for their district championships this year. And looking at District 7A4 for Winter Park, Edgewater sitting there looking at District 5A 5, and both teams, it's not surprising here. I mean, when we looked at the districts, I wish the districts were more teams, so to say, not make it so easy for some teams to roll, whereas other teams don't, have to fight for it a little bit more. So I've always been more promoted for balanced districts, but in this situation, especially for Edgewater 3-team district, all I have to do is win 2 district games. I mean, but the game for Edgewater there puts them, I believe, at 4-2 now on the season. So there is that. And Jones thumping Auburndale on a Saturday game. Yes, another Saturday game for the Jones Tigers so far this season. Jones has played more Saturday games than I can recall anybody else playing here so far this year. But Jones, how about this? A 49-7 victory. And Darren Coleman throwing 187 yards and 2 touchdowns, with DeQuil Smith 103 yards rushing on 9 carries and 3 touchdowns, and that big, huge, decisive victory. And that puts Jones at 6-0. That's also a district game, so Jones is now in the driver's seat for their district right this second, with at least a share of the district lead, I should say. But Jones, again, 6-0 on the season, guaranteed winning season now for the Tigers and for head coach Elijah Williams. And how about another thrashing or thumping, as you want to call it, Melbourne Central Catholic? This one I didn't see happening like that. I think a lot of people didn't see this happening here. But how about this? Melbourne Central Catholic beating Viera 38-0. And quarterback Brogan McNabb, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, while having 1 more rushing touchdown. And Howard DeWitt rushed for 2 touchdowns for the Hustlers. And MCC looking pretty solid here. Lining up potential for a playoff berth. They're sitting there in Class 1A Region 2. And I'm going to hit the comment box here because we do have some. Yes. All right. Mark, you're welcome very much on that with the address and the information regarding Taylor County there. And again, it's in the comment box here. We'll share that here on every show here going through the next couple of nights here about Taylor County. That we find out for any other regions or any other schools, I should say, in the North Florida region, especially with the impacts of Hurricane Helene. I know there's some along the Gulf Coast. If there's some that are along the Gulf Coast, we want to find out as well on there. But I know some schools were impacted on the Gulf Coast, not as many impacted, more the regional communities that were impacted there. But certain schools, especially up around the Big Bend, were definitely impacted once more here. Again, 3 hurricanes in 13 months. It's definitely some trying times for some of these programs up this way where I'm at. Anyways, as we roll along here, how about First Academy rolling again? I mean, 39-13 over Orlando Christian Prep, which avenges a loss from last year that actually ended up keeping First Academy out of the playoffs. So 39-13 over Orlando Christian Prep. And First Academy definitely just keeps rolling. And honestly, there's nothing else that can be really said about this. They're just playing some really good football, but I know there's the FHA investigation on the other side of it, so we know that. But right to second, First Academy, they're 6-0 right now so far here through the 2024 season. And O'Galley, this one I was looking at it, I'm like, wait a second, O'Galley only 7-3, but when I went and looked at the box score, I was wow. This one opened my eyes a little bit, because the 7 points for O'Galley came on an 85-yard scoop and score in the first quarter by Jay Larson, and it was on a blocked field goal. And basically, Titusville scored their only points, the 3 points on a Dean Roberts field goal in the second quarter. Yes, that second half was a complete shutout by both teams. But as they say, all you need is one more point than the other to basically win a football game. And O'Galley did that 7-3 over Titusville, and that actually gives O'Galley a lead district as well. So that was a district game there for O'Galley and Titusville. All right, how about this? I'm looking at the number of teams left in Central Florida that are undefeated still through this moment here after 6 weeks. How about this? Seminole 5-0, Dr. Phillips 5-0, West Orange 5-0, Jones 6-0, O'Galley 6-0, First Academy 6-0, and Mount Dora Christian 6-0. Yes, one team I didn't talk about here, but they did fall on Friday night, was the Masters Academy. Yes, Providence did get them, and the Masters Academy it comes off the board as being a team that is no longer undefeated. So Masters Academy now sitting there at 5-1 on the season, and yes, Masters Academy no longer among the undefeated teams in the Sunshine State. And we got some down in South Florida we'll talk about on the South Florida Blitz, but we'll see what happens here with the remaining games that are being played tonight between the teams over on the Gulf Coast and teams in North Florida. There's a lot of games going on between those two sections. The sections that were heavily impacted the most, I should say, by Hurricane Helene, and games again going on right now, especially around Hillsborough County, Pinellas County, some in Polk County tonight, the Jacksonville area, some over in the Tallahassee region and the Big Bend region, but and then a couple out in the Panhandle as well. They postponed and for tonight. They just wanted to make sure, but hey, better safe than sorry in terms of being able to get games in and making sure that players are safe and that everybody else is safe. But again, some of the games that we do have going on again tonight, especially involving teams in the region, that includes Crescent City at Father Lopez, Umatilla at Interlochen, Westport at Coe, Ed White, Merritt Island, and then of course tomorrow you got Winter Park, Edgewater, Lake Noda at Dr. Phillips, West Orange at Evans, and Cypress Creek at Lake Buena Vista. So again, some makeup games going on here tonight and tomorrow night here in the Central Florida region here. And of course, tomorrow night we do have what we're going to have is the Gulf Coast Blitz at 7:30, the North Florida Blitz at 8:30. But before all those shows, we will have the Drive the State show coming to you at 6 o'clock tomorrow night with the latest playoff rankings and a look at what the playoff brackets would look like. I know there were some concerns if you saw on Twitter earlier in social media that CalPreps shut down momentarily, and CalPreps is what feeds the football ranking to MaxPreps and what ends up feeding the rankings for the Florida High School Athletic Association. So there was some concern that maybe this would impact the rankings, but as we learned in the last hour, CalPreps is coming back online, and well, whatever the issue was, well, that's been resolved. So I was concerned if we weren't going to have playoff rankings tomorrow night, what we're going to see, but that issue's been resolved, and looks like things are going to be back to normal with terms of the CalPreps and MaxPreps and how that impacts the FHA rankings here coming up. But we'll get that new look of playoff rankings coming up here tomorrow from the Florida High School Athletic Association, unless they come out saying, hey, they're going to wait one more day because of games tomorrow. But I don't think that's going to be the case, especially since there's a lot of games tonight and a lot of games played Friday night in certain areas that were able to get games in. So I expect to see an updated ranking coming from the Florida High School Athletic Association tomorrow. But with that said, we'll take the fan question. If you got a question for us or a comment, hit the comment box, pop the question in there, or we'll talk and we can share your comments here coming up here after the 2-minute water break. We'll be right back right here on the Central Florida Blitz, right here on FloridaHSFootball.com and the FloridaHSFootball.com social media platforms. All right, welcome back here to the Central Florida Blitz here on FloridaHSFootball.com. Let me see. I don't know why my camera is all of a sudden acting up. Let me see if I can get it there to get it to readjust here a little bit here. Not sure why it's all of a sudden going a little blurry here. My apologies here. I don't know what happened during the break, but it decided it was going to go out of focus for some reason. Hopefully it'll come back into focus here in a moment here. But if you got a question or comment, hit the comment box here. We'll take your fan question of the week or take a comment here. We'll take whatever there is and that you've got on your mind, and we'll do the best I can to answer that or to just share your comments and share your thoughts about high school football, especially in the Central Florida region. And interesting enough, how about this? We are going to do this. It's that time of the show for the Pick Six. And let me see if I can't get this camera to go back into focus because I'm not sure what's going on here. Let me see if the hand kind of sometimes putting the hand up, it'll make it go. But there we go. It's coming back into focus now. Sometimes it just takes a moment, but we're back in focus now. Anyways, it is time for the Pick Six here as we roll along into week 7. And of course, yes, I know I did make picks for 2 shows last week. I had the games out. I had the games written down on my list. And that would have been for the South Florida, North Florida Blitz. So, and I did make picks on those, but I never shared them. But anyways, this one I did share my picks on with the show last week. And with that said, I went 4-1. The game that I didn't include, that was the Ed White at Merritt Island game. That's actually going on right now as we speak. But I decided to go ahead and scratch that game from the list here of the game results for last week. But with that said, 4-1 on for week number 6 and 29-11 on the season. That's a good winning percentage of 72.5%, 0.725, as you see there on your screen. All right. With that said, we're going to roll into our first game, and that is DeLand at Mainland. Yes, I know some of y'all are going to look at me and be like, all right, why are you putting a 1-5 team on this? There's a reason why, because I feel like this is going to be a trap game for DeLand. The Bulldogs coming off that huge loss to Spruce Creek. I know they're going to be fired up, but Mainland's coming back to the confines of home. Mainland is pumped up. They are excited. They finally got that. They finally broke the goose egg off the win column, and to get that first victory, Mainland can go and win these next 4 games left. Be finished the regular season at 5-5. Make the playoffs as a district champ, and I think Jeremy Bell's finally getting this team to find their grooves, finally find their place. And we saw that with Matanzas. DeLand, on the other hand, went big backwards. And I did not see that coming with Spruce Creek laying it out on the Bulldogs last week like they did. And honestly, at this particular conjuncture, this is the big reason why I feel like momentum is on Mainland's side. DeLand has a lot of work to do here, and I have a feeling here that if DeLand's not prepared for this against Mainland, they're going to come out on the side of another loss that they did not expect. But I'm taking the Buccaneers this week, and if you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, let me know. You can put it in the comments. But yes, that's how I'm rolling this week. All right, Tampa Jesuit at Orange City University. That's the second game up here on the list here. Jesuit 2-2. Jesuit was supposed to host Cardinal Newman this past week, but that game was canceled again due to Hurricane Helene. Orange City University 5-1, and again they picked up that win over Flagler Palm Coast to start off district play. And looking at this, I mean, this is what makes it hard, and I could regret my pick here, but Jesuit. I mean, Orange City University is looking good, but again, I thought hey, they would they would play O'Galley in week 5 pretty close, and they didn't. And Jesuit's one of those teams that they have a really good coaching staff. Not knocking anything against University here, but the Tigers, to me, especially the fact that they are rested, not even playing last week. I know that sometimes that can be to their detriment, but I feel like in this situation for Jesuit here, this is going to be an advantage going into Orange City University, having that off week and looking for their 3rd win of the season. And that's where I'm going with Jesuit in the picks this week. So no knock against Orange City University. Good football team. Jesuit, they've been here, done that a lot of that over the last decade plus, under head coach Matt Thompson there at Tampa Jesuit. So, with that said, I'm rolling with the Tigers here over the Titans here this week. All right, rolling into game number 3. I'm going to say this: Raybon Gap, no Kachachi. It's a school. It's a small private school up in northern Georgia. And I was checking to make sure that this game was actually going to happen because this is an area that had some impacts. But the school is open. They're actually going to be able to play this week, and they will be making the trip down to the Sunshine State. They did have some students impacted with the storm up there in Raybon Gap. But Raybon Gap, they're going to be making the trip down to the First Academy here. Raybon Gap 4-2. They had their game canceled against Charlotte Christian. Obviously, stuff going on all the way up into the Carolinas. That's a big reason why Raybon Gap did not play last week. First Academy 6-0. I mean, this is going to be a good battle. Both teams are nationally ranked. They're nationally ranked in the top 300 teams in the country here. And, at the end of the day, though, I mean, Raybon Gap probably looking for being able to look for a big win here, a big win to bring some to bring some encouragement back home, given everything that has gone on over the last week. But First Academy, they're just rolling right now. They've been looking really, really good. What Jeff Conaway is doing there with the First Academy Royals, and I honestly want to say I'm going with First Academy on the pick this week. All right, rolling along here to our fourth game here, Oviedo at Haggerty. Lions, I mean, Haggerty getting blown out last week, but it's kind of hard. But this is, this is a rivalry. This is between two schools there in Oviedo. It's a rivalry game. It's a city rivalry. You can dice it however you want to in terms of how you want to look at it. But, I mean, when it comes to this, I mean, it's been pretty much Oviedo's had their way with this, with the Huskies. I mean, minus outside a couple of games. And I just feel like, Haggerty, they're going to be looking for a way to rebound. But Oviedo, they've been looking really good here, 4-1 here on the season. And the Huskies 4-2. And my take is the Lions here to win this game here. But, again, rivalry games, they can tend to be close and they can tend to go any which way. But I am taking the Lions here this week to win this game. All right, rolling into our fifth game. It's Joshua Kennedy brought up this comment, and I did not show it earlier, but I was going to bring it up here at this particular point. Did the Leesburg game get changed this week? Yes, the Leesburg game did get changed this week. Ponte Vedra needed a game because they were supposed to play Baker County this week in a game that was rescheduled from a couple weeks ago, but Baker County needed this week to play Godby in a district game, and that takes precedence. So Baker County is playing Godby. Ponte Vedra needed a new game. Thus, Leesburg picking up Ponte Vedra. Leesburg had a game that was canceled on their schedule. So now the Yellow Jackets are going to make the trip up to Ponte Vedra. Usually I probably put this in the North Florida Blitz, but, trying to look for some quality games here, honestly. Looking for some quality games in this one. I took this one with Leesburg 4-1 at Ponte Vedra 3-2. Ponte Vedra coming off a very, very close loss against Fleming Island last week. Leesburg sitting there looking really, really good. And honestly, I mean, this one's tough. But given that this is at the Shark Tank and not at Leesburg, it's a toss-up to me, and I'm going with Ponte Vedra on this one. Ponte Vedra is a really good team, and Steve Price is a really good head coach. And not to knock anything on Frank Scott and his crew there at Leesburg, but it's going to be a little tough outing there. And that game is going to be Thursday night there at the Shark Tank up in Ponte Vedra in St. Johns County. All right, with the next game left there, let's see. There we go. The last game. How about this? A battle of state champions between Norland 4-1 and Cocoa 3-2. Cocoa off last week. Norland picking up a big win over Archbishop McCarthy. We'll talk about more of that in South Florida Blitz coming up here at 8:45. If I told you 8:30 earlier, no, it's not 8:30, 8:45, because I actually have Larry Bluestein's radio show on WQAM to go on here in about 10 minutes or so. So I'll be on Larry Bluestein's radio show on WQAM 560 down in Miami. And then we'll do the South Florida Blitz from 8:45 till 9:30. And but here's the Norland Vikings at Cocoa. Norland 4-1, Cocoa 3-2. And this is really good. It's a good matchup. Union Rapport over 350 yards last week. Cocoa off week, and I think that rest came at a very important time for the Tigers. And my pick, I'm rolling with Cocoa here for the win here. And Mark Cannon, I expect your report after this game. He's going to Norland at Cocoa. That is going to be a huge game right there. The big game in Central Florida this week for week number 7. Yes. And that is the pick 6 here for week number 7. And every year a topic, Noli brings this up. Every year, hot topics like district size, season schedule, and open enrollment of surface. In your humble opinion, what are the largest issues facing high school football in Florida, good or bad? Well, district size, and honestly, in my opinion, classifications, honestly, the problem I have with classifications now is that classifications they don't have a relative factor anymore, honestly, because small schools beat bigger schools beat smaller schools. And honestly, to being honest with you, Noli, there's something has to give here in this situation because I feel like the district championships don't have the value like they used to. I know some schools still pride themselves on going for that district championship, never because some of them are never going to make that state championship game. The problem is that the age of what has happened here in terms of computer rankings and NIL, there's got to be more measurements in terms of the strength of schedule and everything, and just looking at a team completely just not based upon just necessarily what's on the field, but who are they playing? How are they playing? Are they beating teams up? Because honestly, at the end of the day, for me, there should be no reason why like some teams will just schedule teams on the schedule just to play them, just to beat them 50-0 every week. That is where it's like it builds up a false sense of security. You know, you can get a team that I mean, I would rather, for me, I'd rather see teams go 10-0 based upon a tough schedule versus 10-0 versus 8 to 10 cupcakes, so to speak. So that's where I feel like, hey, we're in the day and age of where we need computer rankings. We're in the day and age, things have changed, especially with the fact that open enrollment has definitely done a lot. I think at the end of the day, you cannot use enrollment as the only thing to classify schools. I'd still be open to districts if we were still metro suburban, but now the fact of where we're at again, you could almost circle who's going to win district championships in almost every single district. But you can almost circle who is going to who's going to win state championships in almost every single classification because of the way things are set up right now. And I want strength of schedule to be a part of the thing of everything to be for terms of determining playoffs spots. District size is so out of proportion it ain't funny. It really, in my honesty, the FHA should have never stuck with 16 districts per classification under the model that they went with this time when they did away with Metro Suburban and went back to the standard system. It should have been reduced down to 12 districts because the district size would have been bigger, would have given teams an option of games. The districts probably would have been pretty equal out in terms of the number of good teams versus number of bad teams per district. I even had it figured out and laid out looking at it, and we ended up with the 16 districts, not 12. And honestly, it's becoming, to me, I feel like it's an issue that has to be discussed. Plus, we really do need to get the universal bye week. That's another thing that, especially after what has happened here again, hurricane season, another hurricane impacting schedules. We definitely need a universal bye week at the end of the season. That way teams can reschedule games and not have to play on a Monday night. So there you go, Noli. There's my soapbox for right this second for this show. So, but anyways, we are going to have the South Florida Blitz coming up here at 8:45. I'm going to be on Larry Bluestein show on WQAM 560 AM coming up here in a few minutes. So tune over there if you're down in South Florida, and we'll have the South Florida Blitz right after this on a special night, Monday night here, right here on 4HSFootball.com. We'll see you then, and have a good one.